Hey everybody, this is Trevor and you're watching my channel Social Dilemma, and it is September 12th, 2022. And today I want to talk about leaving Canada. This is a topic that I've never heard Canadians talk about. I never thought I would talk about this topic. Again, I'm almost 50. In a few months, I'll be 50. And never in my time have I thought about leaving Canada. Now, I have parents who are Canadian citizens, but they've also been U.S. citizens since 2003, and they live in the U.S. So, I mean, it is an option to help me to take myself and my family into the United States, which I find at this time is a far better choice to live there than it is in Canada. And I'll explain that more in this video and other videos. This is going to be a pretty heavy topic. So, leaving Canada. Again, never wanted to in my life. And, years ago, my parents are like, hey, do you want to come work in the United States? And I'm like, no, They're like, well, we're U.S. citizens. Maybe we can sponsor you. And I just never had any desire to leave Canada. I thought, no, Canada's fine. Canada's fine. It's got everything I want and for work and freedom and whatnot. But since the big 2020, so when the coronavirus came to be, I really started to notice how Canada really is not a place of freedom. And I know Americans, you're watching this, and anyone else in the world to say, oh, America really wasn't free either. But I will do my best to discuss how America was and still is more free than Canada during and great today when it comes to the coronavirus. So anyways, to get back to the Canadian side of things here, I noticed in Canada that we have something called the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I guess it's Canada's version of, like a constitution, and it says how, we're supposed to have rights and freedoms. The other day I read the passport that I have, which is going to have to be updated now because it says that, I have the freedom the right to travel and whatnot, and that's been granted to me by the Queen Majesty herself of England, and I guess that's going to be updated now with the new King of England. So basically all those rights were taken away. Taken away. We absolutely have no rights in Canada. And that was, the nail in the coffin for me to want to leave Canada was this past February 2022 here when Justin Trudeau invoked the War Measures Act, or the Emergencies Act, the new kinder, gentler words to that act. But it's an act that gives complete power to the federal government and to really all governments across Canada, and it's martial law. Now, the full force of the martial law was not brought in, but it could be. And here's the thing that I really, another reason why I want to leave Canada. What if Justin Trudeau had mandated to every public sector worker in Canada that carries a firearm to go out and curtail citizens' rights from whatever decree he had made, whatever decree, what would the public servants in Canada who carry firearms, would they have followed Justin Trudeau to the T and said, yep, we're sworn in, we're going to do our duty to the Canadian government and do whatever they say? Or would some of them have said, hey, this has gone too far? Okay, the reason why Justin Trudeau brought the War Measures Act in this year was because of people who went to Ottawa to say, hey, no more mandates. We got to open this country back up. Okay, we need to work. the Canada, we're going to go into a recession, and people know it. I've known it since June 2020. You can't shut down an economy and just expect everything to be hunky dory, okay? But he should have opened up sooner, and this is because of his mandates. It forced people's hand to say, hey, we're not here to insurrection. We're not going to, we're not here to, burn down the Parliament House in Ottawa. We just want to get back to work. And you know what? Now people by this past winter 2022, you got 2 years of COVID and whatnot. People are like, okay, we understand what we need to do. And Justin Trudeau, I mean, he should have just said, "This is it. You know what? This people want to get back to work." So still make the vaccines available and have doctors come out and try to recommend things for people. But they should have just backed. They should have just went to a new direction. Said, okay, it should be voluntary. Now everything that's happened since March 2020 here in Canada should have been voluntary anyways. But basically, the straw that broke the camel's back for me was the War Measures Act, the martial law that Justin Trudeau brought in. Now, again, martial law without, calling into force the public sector workers in Canada that come with firearms. He didn't, have them go out onto the streets. So it's kind of, I guess, a soft form of martial law. But again, I have to question how many those sworn in people would have followed Justin Trudeau's orders if he had brought in a hard form of martial law like then or now. It's really scary to think. And since June 2020, Justin Trudeau is taking firearms away from Canadian citizens. And it's our own fault here in Canada, because to own a firearm is a privilege and not a right. Which in the United States you have that Second Amendment saying you have the right to bear arms, okay? And it wasn't for deer hunting. And, in Canada, so Canada they could take the firearms away, and they are rounding them up. They make it more difficult to own them and legally, and so, taking that away. And then, so that's, so here's, other ideas. I'm going to be throwing so many ideas, Hummer, just they're spinning around my head. So, people are like, well, that's very conservative of you. And I said, yeah, but I'm also on the other side, like the freedom of speech, like the First Amendment in the United States. That's very liberal. And so you have the liberal and conservative ideas, and I really do adhere to, I try to take the best of those and form them into what I call would be like a libertarian or voluntarist ways. So, yeah, like in Canada, we have this bill C11, I believe it is, and it's internet censorship in Canada. So it's like Trudeau's shutting our mouths. He's taking away, he's taking away firearms, and then again, I cite the case the other day where two fellows with knives killed 10 people and injured 15. You can, literally probably take a tree branch and go out and kill people. It's not the inanimate object. It's the mental health of people that needs to be helped. So Trudeau doesn't care, and he's just taken that away. And like leaving Canada, there's so many things going on here that that I don't want to stay here anymore. And I do view somewhere like the United States as the bastion of freedom, because you look at like somewhere like California and Canada are like two of the very similar ways of living. California right now, there's 500,000 people at least leaving, and that number's probably going to be even more now once they do the end of 2022 stats. And there's at least 500,000 people leaving and 400,000 people coming in. So at least right now, California is losing 100,000 people. That's not good, and the people that are leaving are middle class, people who make $100,000 to $150,000 a year. You're losing people like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, and other millionaire, billionaire people are leaving. So, but they still have their tech industry, so they are pulling in, and I guess enough taxes. But California, they're very strict on guns, and they're very, they were the first state to really go along with the federal government, and even more so when it came to the coronavirus mandates. And they were the last state to, kind of loosen up on everything. As were other states who were like, hey, they were, they were open for business far sooner, and realizing that, like, hey, there's got to be some other voluntary ways of doing this, and you can't just become a totalitarian state and take away the individual rights. So, which is exactly what's happened here in Canada. And what I like about the United States too is the different states vary in what they'll do for the federal government. Some of them are like, no, you get the hell out of here, and then others are like, oh yeah, oh, you want us to do this, okay. But in Canada, again, one province to the next province, it's when it comes to the federal government kind of mandating things, every province goes along with it. And some provinces do even more to take away the individual freedoms from people, which I think is a very liberal idea. So, but yet, the conservative in me says, look, you've ruined the economy, and I just, I don't know what else to really say. I know in my heart that Canada has fallen, and the last bastion of freedom on this planet seems to be the United States. There are states down there that still seem to value citizens' rights, and so that's what I'm thinking. And so much else in Canada. I mean, but really we've got a prime minister who's a part-time drama teacher. He's basically won the nomination in his prime minister because of his family name only. And I don't think he's any better than his Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Pierre Trudeau instigated the War Measures Act as well, too. So, I mean, what more to say about Canada? Basically, the last 2 years have proved to me that there is no freedom to live anywhere in Canada. One province to the next, it's all the same. I could think of at least 10 states in America that if you live in right now, you've got the freedoms to work. Very little government involvement, which is great. It's supposed to be. It's more represented in the Constitution. Some of the states run just like how their founding fathers thought that America should be going in that direction of, basically, hey, First and Second Amendments and all the other constitutional rights. And but some states like California are absolutely bonkers. Like their taxation is insane. The crime rates are it's becoming a cesspool. But basically, if you are in the United States and you're wanting to know about Canada, basically just look to California. Okay, that's where Canada is. Well, we probably don't have the homeless rate that they have because, there's nowhere really warm to live here. I mean, there's homeless people here, but Canada's really not the greatest place to live on the street. And, so California does beat Canada in that respect. But, really the taxation, the over-liberalization of things, which is really strange. I thought liberals were for independence, the individual rights, but they seem to be more collectivist on their ways of, you know, letting people live. So I don't know. Leaving Canada, it's something that's brewing up in me, and I'd really like to know how many people watching this video right now, if you're from Canada, let me know. Like I want to know if there's more Canadians wanting to leave, and I do. I'm surfing around YouTube and on the internet, and it does seem that there are more videos of people who are Canadians who want to leave. I've even watched videos of people who immigrated here from other parts of the world who are now regretting coming to Canada, and they're wanting to leave. And some of these people are wanting to head to other countries other than America, but they're wanting out of Canada now. It's like, hey, I came here, and it's just not the place of freedom. Well, unless you've really come from somewhere that's absolutely totalitarian. This is more so for people, like I've heard people from Britain come here for work, Europe and whatnot, and then they get here and it's like, hey, this is ridiculous. And then a lot of them are looking towards other countries, like Mexico. They look towards Mexico for cost of living and whatnot. But I look at the cost of living as well, which in Canada is just absolute nightmare. Everything's just, it's now I know places in the States too. This is, again, I go back to the United States for different states. I'm like, hey, this place has got, if we made $100,000 in this state, we'd be living like kings. Well, in Canada, yeah, you can still live pretty good, but for how long? Plus, when is Trudeau going to reinstitute his mandates again? And again, it's just like California, with all these other issues of climate and whatnot, like this green movement, this green agenda. What a farce. Okay, that's such a farce because, you think you can't run a city on windmills and solar power. I mean, you should be running a city with nuclear power. Okay, we need the gas, the fuel and the natural gases and whatnot. We need all that. Okay, cars should be run on that. If you want to have, I'm kind of on. I've sometimes thought, well, maybe houses could have some solar powers to it, but I absolutely hate those giant white windmills flying around on the fields. It looks atrocious, and they only spin maybe a few hours a day, a quarter of the time that there's, 70% of the time they're not even moving. That's what I'm trying to say. So, and Canada's really moving towards that, and I don't see that as economically viable. Again, so try to find a place in America that allows the individual to flourish. And in Canada, like it's hard. I keep saying this, but it's just one province to another. It's all the same. It's all the same. Like the federal government says jump and the provinces say how high. So I've got more ideas I want to share, but we're getting on 20 minutes here. I don't want to bore people too much, but yeah, leaving Canada. I mean, just for the freedom. I just want to leave Canada for a place that I feel more free in, and United States is where it's at. And there's a few places down there I think that would be quite a good place to have, bring my family to and make money and just live a good life and be a. I do admire the Constitution down there, but yet I also think too, did the Constitution in America give the Americans the government they have today, or was it powerless to stop the government that they have today? I'm not, I'm still mixed on that. Definitely the Charter of Rights and Freedoms here in Canada was powerless to stop Trudeau. He just keeps doing one thing after another here in Canada. So I guess that's just where that's at today. So if I really want to know people's thoughts. If you want to leave Canada, you're thinking about leaving Canada, or if you have already left Canada, please let me know. I want to know where you went, and just talk about it. I really want people to talk about this, and I don't know. This idea is just floating around my head to leave Canada, and right now it's just the lack of freedom. So uh, I'll come out with some more videos on leaving Canada and give different ideas that pop in my head and go, well, this is another reason why I want to leave Canada as well too. So, but right now, that freedom thing is really, it's pulling on my heartstrings to get out of Canada. So leave a comment below as to why you want to leave Canada or if you've left Canada, and let me know, okay? And we'll talk to you later, and stay free, okay?